What's up everyone, Sliv the Tank here, and in this video I will be guiding you through turn 4 in the binding coil of Bahamut. This will be an off-tank point of view, but hopefully in the near future I will have a main tank point of view posted for everyone to enjoy. I will try to make this guide as brief as possible while also trying to cover key components needed to successfully off-tank turn 4. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, so there are 6 phases in turn 4, and knowing and understanding each phase will make this fight much easier. The way we start this is with both tanks in the middle to immediately pick up the spiders that spawn for phase 1. The only real strat needed for phase 1 is to have the tanks gather and hold all the spiders in the center as close as possible to each other so all AoE damage from the DPS hits the spiders to kill them. You have exactly 1 minute to kill these spiders before phase 2 starts. If the spiders aren't dead before 1 minute, then phase 2 will start and your group will probably struggle for the rest of the fight, seeing that you are already behind. While the DPS are killing these spiders, as a warrior I usually use a couple overpowers in the beginning to gain hate, then I'll combo to get my infuriated ready for phase 2. When the spiders are almost dead, the off tank needs to make his way to the northeast corner and get ready for the Clockwork Knight and Soldier to drop, thus beginning phase 2. When these two guys drop down, the DPS will usually be killing the two on the main tank first, so the off tank needs to gather hate and start working them down while rotating cooldowns to help the healers out. Remember, each phase only lasts a minute and the goal is to have these guys down roughly around the same time phase 3 starts. In the beginning of this phase, I'll usually flash, steal cyclone, flash, steal cyclone, just to make sure I have plenty of hate in the beginning. Then I'll just start doing normal rotations here while keeping up my buffs. Then when the DPS comes over to help, I'll try to keep an eye on the main tank to see when the Dreadnought drops, thus starting phase 3. When I see the Dreadnought drop, I'll look at the time on the duty finder list and see exactly when phase 4 is going to start, so I can let my party know, how quickly we need to rush phase 3, which we'll get to here in just a minute. We actually killed the Knights and Soldiers in this phase before phase 3 started. So note that if you kill everything in your current phase before the 1 minute timer is up, the next phase will start almost immediately regardless of how much time you have left. In phase 3, the main tank grabs the Dreadnought and pulls him to the middle while the rest of the party, including the off tank, runs behind the Dread. This allows for the Dreadnought to eat all the spiders that dropped, as well as keeping everyone out of the frontal cone swipe attack that the Dreadnought does. Beyond that, this phase is a DPS check and just basically a tank and spank. The Dreadnought must be killed before phase 4, or else he will eat more spiders that will drop down and regen his health, resulting in an inevitable wipe. As a warrior, I'll usually make sure that by the end of phase 3, I have Infuriated ready to go for phase 4. When the Dreadnought dies, phase 4 will begin with a few more clockwork bugs like from phase 1, but now 2 spinner rooks have joined in on the fun. Normally the main tank will grab mobs from one side of the arena and the off tank grabs the other side, then bring them into a tight ball in the center, so once again the AoE damage can start. The only big difference here is that even though there would be AoE damage going off, the rooks need to be the first thing to die. The rooks have an ability called Pox, which reduces the target's max HP and it stacks. If the tank gets hit by a few Pox, they will probably die. Anyway, as the off tank, I make sure I gather hate on everything in this phase so the main tank can be free to grab the Dreadnought that drops in phase 5. To deal with Pox, I usually just run a circle around them, thus interrupting their line of sight for casting, and usually don't get hit by it too often. Once the rooks are dead, there's no need to keep running around, so I'll usually just face myself towards where I'll be going for phase 5, which is southeast. Normally in phase 4, we try to kill everything in this phase, just to make phase 5 and 6 that much easier. If all the bugs don't die and a Dreadnought actually does end up eating 1 or 2 bugs, then it will make the rest of the fight that much harder. In this video, we killed all but 1 bug when phase 5 started, which is okay because the bug died very quickly afterwards. Phase 5 starts with 1 Knight, 1 Soldier, and 1 Dreadnought. As the off tank, I usually just grab the Knight while the Black Mage kites the Soldier. I do try to gain a little hate if possible on the Soldier, but the main focus is keeping the Knight from killing all the other DPS that are on it, so main focus is to tank the Knight first. Once the Knight dies, then we direct our focus to the Soldier and kill that, and prepare for the final phase with the Dread still alive and pretty much still at full health. Once the soldier dies, the rest of the DPS will go over and start DPSing the Dreadnought and get it down as much as possible to prepare for Phase 6. As the off tank, I'll just kind of hang out in the middle waiting for the Knight and Soldier to drop, thus starting Phase 6. In Phase 6, it is the off tank's job to grab at the very least the Knight, the Soldier, and one bug, if not both bugs, and tank them while the DPS kills the Spinner Rook and the first Dreadnought from Phase 5. As you can see, I'm kind of running a circle around these three enemies while rotating cooldowns. They do hit pretty hard, and this late in the fight you don't want your healers to struggle to keep you alive. Running circles around the Knight and Soldier is said to slow their damage on you due to the fact that they need to be facing you to hit you. It is wise to either AoE with overpower or flash, or even rotate between targets to make sure that you are keeping your enmity up on all three targets so they don't wander off and kill your healers. During this part of the fight, I am also keeping an eye on my enemy list that's on the left of my screen, waiting for the first Dreadnought to die. As soon as the first Dreadnought dies, the off-tank runs behind the second Dreadnought, pulling all the adds with him. When I run the mobs behind the second Dread, that Dread will eat the remaining bug or bugs that are still alive, leaving you with only 3 things left to deal with. It will now be up to the DPS to burn the Knight and the Soldier down and prepare to take on that Dreadnought. Now that the Knight and the Soldier have died, the only thing left to deal with is the Dreadnought, so it's time to pull out all the stops and have your DPS burn it down as quickly as possible. Shortly after you start attacking the Dreadnought, it's probably around 50% health depending on how much you struggled with the earlier phases, there will be some massive AoE damage hitting the entire party that the healers will have to heal through. So just keep going through and keep burning it and you will get the win. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and like and subscribe. I will be posting more videos in the future, hopefully a main tank guide on this to cover what I didn't cover in this video. Alright guys, good luck.